Here's my real quick first impressions of Doom: The Dark Ages. So I actually pre-ordered this game because, come on, it's Doom. Doom Eternal is probably one of my favorite games ever, so I had to do it. It was going to be a day one purchase either way, and I didn't realize that this would unlock the game early. Very exciting stuff. So this isn't going to be super in-depth. I've only played the first level, but games are expensive right now, and the economy sucks wiener. So if I can help you decide if this game is right for you, awesome. If not, I don't care. I played the first level. I went straight in, no lube. I was on nightmare mode. That's how I roll. There's a whole customizer for how difficult the game is, and I gotta tell you, I didn't mess with that at all, and I gotta say, I had a lot of fun with it. So here's a quick light spoiler warning. You'll only see stuff from the first chapter of the game. Here's a little context for you going into this, just, to kind of give you an idea of who I am. I'm not a die-hard FPS guy, but I don't know what happened. I played Doom Eternal and something changed in me. Something came out. I had to play the game on nightmare mode. I had to get good at the game. I'm okay. I wouldn't say I'm like a Doom master or anything like that, but I'm not typically the type who's like, I need to play this on the hardest difficulty and do all these challenges. There was something about Doom Eternal that drew me in and made me want to do that, and that definitely carried over to here because I have to play this on nightmare mode, and there's a mode that's above nightmare but under ultra nightmare. Kind of interesting. And I realized after recording this is basically extra life mode from Doom Eternal, but it's called Pandemonium. My expectations and standards for this game are sky high, considering the fact that Doom Eternal made me shit my ass and completely redefine how I looked at first-person shooters. No big deal or anything. The speed at which you can move in Doom Eternal blew my mind. It genuinely felt like you needed battle tactics. You couldn't just shoot. You had to be fast, you had to dodge, you had to know how to prioritize. It was so strategic and such a deep game. The same potential for strategy is in this game for sure. It definitely isn't as fast as Eternal, but that's okay. And it isn't as colorful with all the ammo drops either. I don't know how I feel about that, but thematically I think it makes more sense for this game, that it's not like rainbow vomit. For those of you who are wondering how does this game compare to Doom Eternal, because that was the question on my mind, this is the most elegant way I can put it, and I'm not an elegant guy. In Doom Eternal, you're a Ferrari. And I was talking to my friend about this one. He added in a Ferrari with heat-seeking missiles. In this game, you're a big fuck-ass heavy tank with a cool cape and a shield. It's kind of hard to explain if you're not playing it, but you feel heavy. Like when you jump, you go boom. When you punch, it smashes things. Which is cool, because in Doom Eternal, it kind of felt like, why melee no do crunch? The game is faster than I was expecting as well, especially with the shield bash. There's a ton of potential for running around arenas, and just from what I've done in this little bit in this first level, I was already moving around arenas much faster than I was expecting. Despite the speed though, it is very clear that this is not Doom Eternal 2. There's an emphasis on being this heavy unit. You're punching shit, you're throwing your shield, you're bashing your shield, there's melee stuff. Obviously the guns are still the star of the show, but there's a lot more emphasis on hand-to-hand combat, on jumping around, on smacking shit with the shield, on blocking things. Really the bottom line is you feel like a tank. You're just kind of rolling through your enemies, and it's pretty cool. Some things in the Dark Ages will be very familiar to you if you played Doom Eternal or other Doom games in the past. The map is very familiar. There's secrets, there's toys, of course, that's the most important part of the game. Codex entries, which of course I'll read at a later time. I am very early on, but it seems like they care more about the story this time around, which, let's face it, I didn't really play Doom Eternal for the plot, but that's kind of cool.
Once again, we will not leave here until the heart of Argent is found.
Okay, here are a few things right out of the gate that I didn't really like. Doom Eternal definitely handled one-ups much more elegantly than the Dark Ages. I really don't like the way they implemented the Life Sigil. It's cool that it's essentially a one-up, but the way you just die, it doesn't feel like there's enough feedback. It just kind of freezes the game and just says, oh, do you want to use a Life Sigil? Whereas in Eternal, you had that sound effect, the game kept flowing. It kind of feels like the Life Sigil takes me out of it, which I'm not a huge fan of. I do appreciate having the choice to use the Life life sigil or go back to the checkpoint though. I don't know, this could be easily fixed with some sort of sound cue. The weapon wheel seems like it's more encouraged in the Dark Ages though. You still have the numbered keybinds, but that might be weird for me as I progress when you get more and more weapons. I really could not fuck with the weapon wheel in Doom Eternal, and if they want us to use that as the main way to switch in this game, that might be a problem. But again, really early on, so who knows. I think my biggest gripe with the game so far is nothing to do with the gameplay, it's actually the audio mix. And this is something that's so nerdy, and I'm a video guy, so maybe I'm not the right person to ask about this. Audio mixing and shit like that is something that I can be really critical of. But the audio mix is, as my friend Corey would say, Johnny fucked. Like, I don't know what happened, and I guarantee you this is gonna be a very early patch to address this. First of all, if you don't customize anything, you can barely hear the soundtrack. Between the Doomslayer's footsteps clumping around and punching in the shield and the enemies, you barely hear it in the mix. It's in the background. The soundtrack is just completely buried in the mix, and it's a shame because the soundtrack is really cool. I'm not a hater just because Mick Gordon didn't compose it, although I do love Mick Gordon. Part of the reason I love Doom Eternal so much is that soundtrack. That can't be in the background, that's gotta be present. It's part of the whole aesthetic. It kind of feels like you're at a party full of like 20 people and someone's just playing music off their phone. It's so far in the background, it's not even a thought, it's hard to even hear. That was crazy. And I was playing on headphones. And at the end of the first chapter, I don't know what the hell was happening with that mix, but when you're fighting the big thing, I didn't edit this at all. Headphone users warning, 3, 2, 1. What was that? That was crazy. It was blowing my eardrums out. I could not believe how messed up that audio mix was. That has to be addressed right away. Here's the thing, I know this is fixable by messing with settings, but I mess with audio enough at my real job. I don't need to be a sound mixer for Bethesda 2. Call me crazy, but I think some shit should just work. And the more I think about the difficulty customization options, the more I kind of think they're not the right idea. I think the devs had a clear vision for their difficulty levels. You could see that in the previous games, and honestly, I don't think me, not a game designer, should be messing with them. They made the game, they should choose the rules. Nightmare mode isn't required playing. If you don't like it, you don't need to play on that difficulty. But whatever, I'm sure I can tune the difficulty to my liking if I mess with it a little bit. And with that in mind, while I was playing on Nightmare mode, I didn't customize anything. I think by default, the parrying mechanic is way too forgiving. Look at how precise you had to be with the Marauder in Doom Eternal. And now look at the Dark Ages. This is Nightmare mode. Like, you don't have to play on this. You can play on the easier difficulties, whatever, but Nightmare mode should be a lot more precise. So the good thing is you can go into the menu and tune that, but for someone like me, I don't really want to do that. Like, I want the difficulty to just be figured out. If I play Nightmare, I want the challenge. It's also kind of disappointing that another Animal Crossing game didn't come out on the same day as the Dark Ages, but hey, we won't hold that against it. Nintendo, get to fucking work. The overall aesthetic is great. I love the environment. I love being able to destroy everything and run through and knock over all these stands. I love the enemies, I love how dark and gritty it is. The presentation is nutty. Ultimately, the Dark Ages got my blood pumping the same way Eternal did. I am so excited to keep playing it, and maybe it won't redefine an entire genre of video games for me like Doom Eternal did, but you know, that's okay. So like I said, this was gonna be a day one purchase for me either way. I'm very happy with it. I'm excited to experience the story. I'm gonna play the fuck out of this game. I have an embarrassing number of hours on Doom Eternal. I'm sure I will have an embarrassing number of hours stars in this game. It's a strong recommend from me. If you're anything like me and my taste, you will love it. You will have fun with it. But if this stuff sounds like it's not up your alley, you probably won't. That's some truly insightful commentary from me. But anyway, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and check out my Doom Eternal Let's Play. I'll finish that by 2040 or something like that. And if you are interested in seeing the first level of Doom the Dark Ages with no commentary, no editing, and pretty mediocre gameplay on Nightmare Mode, you can go watch this one. I have a bunch of Zelda videos, a bunch of Animal Crossing stuff where I fight demons there too, so go check them out. All right, bye.